and welcome back to my channel. Okay, so I was thinking today what I was gonna do a video about, and yesterday I was extremely annoyed about just an influx of comments that I've been getting lately from obviously people on the left who have so many ignorant things to say when it comes to politics, when it comes to history. They just don't know what they're talking about, but yet they spend so much time criticizing me and other people who do know what we're talking about and who do our research and who educate ourselves on the facts. And it's just annoying beyond belief. So yesterday, I got a topic from my producers at Onyx, and unfortunately this morning we couldn't film due to technical difficulties. So I was actually really excited to talk about this topic for Onyx because it was something that I didn't know much about until I started to deep dive into it to research, so I could speak on it this morning. And I was like so surprised at what I found. I wasn't, okay? Because again, it just proves my point that I was just saying, that people on the left are so delusional when it comes to the facts. So what we're going to talk about is presidential pardons. Now, recently, President Trump has started to pardon some people. Actually, to be honest with you, he has pardoned quite a few less people than previous presidents. In fact, I think he's probably in the bottom three as of right now, as far as number of pardons compared to past presidents. So I'm going to go into some of those numbers so that we can do a little bit of comparison. But in all reality, the number doesn't matter so much as the reason for the pardon and what the president is trying to accomplish by doing that, okay? Because as a fact, okay, every president has the right to pardon and give people reprieve and, clemencies and whatnot. So it's not like, President Trump is doing something that's like this unheard of thing that just, it's just so shocking that he's pardoning people. Every single president does it. It is a constitutional right, okay? You can look it up for yourself if you don't believe me, but it is a constitutional right. I believe it's Article 2, Section 2, Clause 1 to be exact, okay? So anyways, I got this article and it was like, something to the effect of Trump continues to issue pardons. And then it referenced, Roger Stone and Paul Manafort and what's his name, Charles Kushner, okay, as the three that they are focusing on as far as his pardons. But when I started to look into this, and I was like, the first question that came to mind was, okay, well, how many people have other presidents pardoned? And who have they pardoned, okay? So just to first give you the numbers, okay, let's start with the highest number of pardons issued by the one and only Barack Obama. He has issued or had issued during his pregnancy, during his presidency, he issued 1,927 pardons. Now I'm going to go into a few kind of notable ones, and then I'm going to, break it down a little bit more. But let me go to the runner-up. The runner-up to Mr. Obama was Mr. Bill Clinton. He issued 459 pardons during his presidency. Donald Trump, okay, now granted, he is not done with his presidency yet, but as of December 23rd, which was the latest count that I have, he has issued pardons for 94 people, okay? And there's obviously going to be more to come. He has said there's more to come. He is entitled to pardon more people. But I just find it so funny that when you go and look at what the media is saying about it, they post these articles like, oh, President Trump pardoned 12 people today. President Trump is set to pardon even more people. And they're making this big deal about it when the guy has barely even scratched the surface of what the other presidents have done, okay, as far as numbers go. Now let's talk about the quality of pardons, okay? Let's go back to former President Barack Obama. He it's funny, okay, because his number is quite large, okay? So to the naked eye, you would think, wow, that's amazing. He gave all these people their life back. However, he really didn't have that many notable, like impactful on society type pardons, okay? Like when you look at the type of people that Trump pardoned, there wasn't anybody that you were like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad he put this person back into society, or I'm so glad he righted this wrong. President Obama's, one of his most notable pardons was Oscar Lopez Rivera, who was a member of a known terrorist group called FALN, okay? They are a known terrorist group, and they are knowingly responsible for over 100 US bombings, okay? The terrorist group as a whole. Now, Oscar Lopez himself went to prison because he conspired to overthrow the US government. They also had a video, and I'm gonna put it up here really quick, a video of this dude making bombs. They had a video of him making bombs. Now, of course, you did not see this on, plastered across the news like they would plaster everything else regarding President Trump with. But this guy, we had video. I mean, this guy did the crime. He did the crime. For some reason, President Barack Obama chose to pardon him. Now, he was actually offered a pardon back in, President Barack Obama issued a commutation, okay, for his sentence. Now, he was previously issued a pardon by Bill Clinton, but for some reason turned it down. And then Obama came behind him and, did whatever he did for him. Why? I don't know. Now, the rest of the people, I'm not saying there aren't any other, named people, but the majority of the 1,927 people that Obama pardoned were drug dealers. Okay? Now, keep in mind, Obama was a lame duck president. And the reason why I say that, that's a fact, that's not my opinion, is because the House and the Senate were controlled by the Republican Party. So it was very, very difficult for Obama to pass any legislation. So the only way he could really make a mark as president, because he couldn't pass any notable legislation, was to do just a ton of executive orders, to flex his muscles by doing executive orders, which is what he did here. Okay, so let's move on to former President Bill Clinton. Okay, now there is a lot of dirt in the Clinton name. We all know this, okay? I'm not even going to go into that because that could be a whole separate video. But let's talk about the people that he has pardoned. Now, President Trump is getting a lot of flack for pardoning Charles Kushner, which is the father of his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and who's married to Ivanka and his daughter. But he's getting a lot of flack because people are like, oh, well, he's just showing favoritism to family. Now, just to tell you what Charles Kushner did, he went to jail for tax evasion, okay? He did serve his time. He did pay his fines, just to be clear, okay? Other than that, he had no other criminal convictions or any other, bad record. Bill Clinton, however, pardoned his own brother, Roger Clinton. Okay, Roger Clinton went to prison for a massive amount of cocaine he was possessing. And he had some other things in his record that I'm not going to go into right now, but I just want to make the comparison that Bill Clinton also pardoned a family member. But you don't hear anything about that because he's on the left, okay? The other person that Clinton pardoned was Susan McDougal, who was an associate of his. Now, I mentioned that she's an associate of his because another thing that they're criticizing Trump for is the fact that he's pardoning all these people that worked with him and that were quote unquote loyal to him. So here we have Susan McDougal, who was an associate of the Clintons, and she went to prison for her role in Whitewater, okay? Now, the other really, really, really big person that he pardoned was Mark Rich. Now, Mark Rich was an associate as well of the Clinton administration. He was on the FBI's top 10 most wanted list. He went down in history as the biggest tax cheat in American history. He was also found to be trading with Iran. And they pardoned him. Now, he was a huge donor to the Clinton Library and to the Democratic campaigns. So it's very obvious that the whole reason why they pardoned him was because he donated tons of money, thousands and thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars to the Clintons. So of course they would pardon him. Now one would ask, is that it? Is that why he got pardoned? Because he gave money? That's it. Because he was a criminal. He was a criminal. Then going back to the FALN, the known terrorist group, he pardoned, I think, 16 or 17 members from that terrorist group. Okay. Now, I don't know what the favoritism is here with that terrorist group FALN. I don't know much about them other than I think they are based in Puerto Rico. I'm not sure. But why are we showing all this loyalty to terrorist groups? Okay. Maybe we should look into that a little bit more considering we just had a bomb go off in Nashville. Okay. So now let's look at Donald Trump. I'm not going to go back to all the other presidents. You guys can look up if you're curious which president pardoned who and why. Go and do that research for yourself. I just wanted to list the kind of like the top three. But let's talk about Donald Trump. Okay. Now, Donald Trump has been the president of criminal justice reform. Okay. He has talked about it from the very beginning. He has said that is his main focus, is working on that and also working to fight injustices in the what's the word I'm looking for? In the criminal defense system. Okay. So let's go through the people that he pardoned. Okay. 94 people total so far, more to come. First person is Jack Johnson. Now, if you don't know who Jack Johnson is, they actually showed when President Trump pardoned him, but he is the first African-American heavyweight champ, okay? His pardon that he initially applied for a pardon back when Obama was president of the United States, and Obama denied his pardon even after the Congressional Black Caucus, like bipartisanly, was like, yeah, we back this 100%. Obama, the Black president, denied a pardon to the Black African-American heavyweight champ, the first one, okay? The second one, a very, very well-known one, Alice Johnson. Alice Johnson was the one that Kim Kardashian was fighting so hard to get a pardon for. She was given, this still like blows my mind, but she was given a life sentence for the selling and the possession of cocaine. Now, if you know Alice's story, she tells it. She now does a lot of work to help President Trump with other clemencies and pardons, working very closely with the Trump administration in the criminal justice reform. But she tells her story and says, hey, listen, I had a bad point in my life, like where I couldn't feed my kids. I had to do what I had to do, and I made a bad decision. And, but I don't think I deserved life in prison for it, considering it was my first offense. And she had a very good record serving her time in prison. I think she served something like 23, 25 years. And then President Trump came along and expunged her entire record, wiped it clean, which was amazing. Okay. The other very, very notable person that President Trump has pardoned, amongst many others, okay, is Susan B. Anthony. Now, she was the leader, she's no longer alive, but she was the leader of women's suffrage and was a very big proponent for women's rights, fought tirelessly for women's rights. And like I said, she's not even alive, and President Trump pardoned her, like cleared her record. How amazing is that? Okay. She went to jail, okay, was arrested for voting back when women were not allowed to vote. So that's a really huge thing, because when I list these three in particular off, it really speaks to, or it speaks against the claims that President Trump hates women, the claims that President Trump is a racist, because two of the three people I mentioned are African American, and one of them is a woman, particularly, which you would consider a feminist. Okay. So, and again, these are not the only people he's pardoned. You can go and look up his record. And there's many, many, people of color. Not that that even matters when it comes to a pardon, but considering that this president has received so much criticism, you know, in regards to how he views immigration laws and all this other stuff. It just disproves it all. Okay. Now let's talk about his other pardons that are very controversial right now. The first two being Roger Stone and Paul Manafort. Now those two were convicted in regards to the whole Russian probe, Russian hoax, biggest witch hunt in history scandal. Okay, so in my mind, their pardon was well deserved because nothing ever came of the whole Russian collusion claims that the left had against the president. Nothing ever came of it. In fact, to this day, we're still sitting here waiting on the Mueller report. And my guess is there will never be a report because there's nothing to report. Okay? That's why. You're never going to see it because there's nothing to report other than the fact that President Trump did not collude with Russia. Okay? We all know that. What they should be focusing on is that Biden colludes with China and Ukraine. That's what they really need to be focused on. Okay. Then we have Charles Kushner, which I already talked about. I mean, that's like preference. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say he did it. He had, you know, he did tax evasion. He went to jail for it. He served his time. He paid his fines. And President Trump chose to pardon him. At the end of the day, the guy's not a drug dealer. The guy's not a murderer. He's not a rapist. I mean, that's President Trump's right. And you can't criticize him for it because you can go back and find 10 more people to every one person that President Trump has pardoned that actually deserve to go to prison for whatever they did and actually did a wrong. You could find 10 of those on, you know, the side of Bill Clinton and Obama alone that truly are criminals and are probably still committing crimes against the United States and are probably being protected by the deep state. The people that President Trump has chose to pardon, he has looked at very, very carefully and has done so very, very conservatively. But at the end of the day, he has stayed close to what he promised to do, which was criminal justice reform. And he is loyal to people who are loyal to him. From the very beginning of this whole Russian collusion thing, you know, he actually didn't think he was going to have to use his power to pardon because he was certain that the justice system would do their work and clear Roger Stone's name and clear Manafort's name, but they didn't. They didn't. And so he had to come through and he had to help them out. He had faith in the justice system, and the justice system failed him and failed these other two gentlemen. So I say this because I want everybody to do what I did. If you don't know for a fact what you're talking about, go and look it up, okay? Now, when I was looking this up, okay, I will tell you, I had to be very strategic because when I was looking this up, it was very hard to find a YouTube video, to find an article that wasn't criticizing Trump negatively. It was also very hard to find one that was speaking truths about Obama and Clinton and even Bush, what they did when they were president. Nobody wanted to talk about that. It was just about Trump. He's so evil. He, you know, wants to pardon all these people because they're family and they're friends and blah, blah, blah. Okay, but nobody wants to criticize anybody else on the left. So I really had to kind of be strategic about how I searched up this information. And it took me hours and hours and hours to find it. Okay, but I found it and I came to the conclusion that this whole Trump pardoning people news headline just needs to like go away because it's no big deal. We need to be congratulating him for what he has done for these individuals that he has given their life back to, that he's given them a second chance, and move on to other things. At any rate, I want to know what you guys think in the comments box below. Please don't forget to like this video. Please don't forget to share this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys so much and have a good one. Bye-bye.